This is part 4 of EDL 855's module 14. I was cut off just as I had stopped or started talking about section 8, my final reflection. So I will continue. I believe that my final decision includes all the stakeholders that are pertinent to this situation. So the school board knowing, superintendent knowing, David's mother knowing, I myself as the principal knowing. I believe those would be all the stakeholders, and I would also be trying to help the community as well. So I do feel like all the stakeholders are included. I feel like this is the most creative option for this situation, and others are a little more straightforward or less steps. But I think this option is probably the most creative and the best option. It allows for a team of people to make decisions, which I'm all for. I really don't like unilateral movement, as I know that there are some times in administration where this has to occur. However, I think the more often times that you can get a team together and get a consensus, the better the result will be. So I think allowing for the team to get together is a good situation. It also shows David's mom that she isn't alone. I'm on her side. I understand that this is an injustice, and I'm trying to do what's best for my students and the families that I serve, not just follow a silly policy that makes no sense. I also could possibly be preventing the school from bad PR. Again, if local news agencies got a hold of this, this would be something, at least in my area, that it would be ran with for a long time and would cause a big uproar. So hopefully, if the things are done properly, it could prevent the school from this bad PR. And schools are always constantly having to fight bad PR anyway. So it's better if we're not shooting ourselves in our own foot. This is where I think I meet one of the standards that we were asked to highlight and embed into our presentation. I think within this, I think I'm showing ethical and legal decision making. Obviously, I'm trying to stay true to my own ethical situation with the decision that I made, and all my decisions are legal. I'm not doing anything that would be illegal. So I believe I meet that standard within this presentation. Section 9 is going to be broken up into several portions, but the first is choose your path. So step 1, I would need to get the extension for signing signing the paperwork. So I would have to ask the higher ups, hey, can I have an extension until we have this meeting? Then I would team up with David's mother to create a presentation for the district. I would look at the current legal battles that are going on and then show the bad press for the other schools that are in the middle of zero tolerance policy issues. So having those on my side, I think, would be crucial. Then I'd have the meeting with the district, including the school board and the superintendent. And then I'd have to wait the school's decision. And then that's when my decision comes into play. I would hope that they would reverse their thinking on this, but no one ever really knows what a school board's going to do. So within this, I think I also show the second standard that was asked of us for embedding into our presentations, which would be demonstrate the capacity to evaluate the ethical dimensions of an issue, analyze decisions in terms of the established ethical frameworks, or communicate about and advocate for ethical and legal decisions. I think I'm doing that within the choice that I had made for this, the decision I made for this scenario, and kind of showing my thought process throughout. I think that I do a good job of hitting this standard because everything I'm trying to do is ethical. I'm trying to analyze the whole big picture and understand that no matter what happens, there are consequences to my action or my inaction. And I think that's important. I think that's kind of what the standard's asking. So what may happen? Well, they may not grant me my extension. So they may say that I have to sign the papers, but we will have a meeting on it. If this is the case, I would probably sign the papers if we're still going to be able to have the meeting, so that it would buy us time to have this meeting. However, if there is no meeting, if they say we will not have a meeting on this issue, you have to sign the papers no matter what, I'm going to quit. It's not a place that I need to be at if we're not even going to be able to talk about something that is as ridiculous as this situation. So the meeting may not be allowed at all. So I would not sign the papers if there was no meeting, and I would quit. As I said before, this is, like I said, it's not a district that I want to work in if we're not even going to be able to have conversations like this to think about what's best for kids. If we're not thinking about what's best for kids, I don't want to be a part of it. Another thing that could happen is that Dave's mother may not want to present with me, which is very possible. I would just want to make sure that she would be there and visible. She wouldn't have to say anything, but if she was there and visible, I think that would be important. And then after the meeting, the school possibly may not reverse the decision. Then it's decision time for me in terms of what I would do. Would I stay there, or what would my next steps be, which is another question coming up. So I won't give it away yet. Section 9, identify who needs to know about my plan. So obviously David's mother needs to know. The school board needs to know. The superintendent needs to know so that we can have the meeting. And also my supervisors would probably need to know so that I could get the extension for not having to turn in the paper before the meeting. Determining if I can deal with this on my own. I would probably need Dave's mother. I don't think I would take any legal action yet. I think I would try this first situation, this first way of going about things before any legal action would be needed. So I would go with my first plan and then move on from there. Section 9 talked about warn, don't threat as well in this part. What I would warn is that this could cause really bad publicity. Like I said in my previous videos for this module, the nation's changing its laws at a very fast pace when it comes to zero tolerance policies. And the school, I would argue, wouldn't want to be on the wrong side of this issue when finally the hammer drops that all zero tolerance policies are not allowed. I think that's coming, and a lot of schools are going to look pretty silly if they're not on the right side of this. Also, I'd warn them about what Dave's future is going to look like. It's not going to be as good just off of one decision that was made under the threat of physical pain. I can't see that as, I can't see the decision to suspend him as the right one. And then I would ask the superintendent and the school board members, what happens if that's your kid? What if your kid's threatened to be beaten up if they don't hold the brass knuckles, and then we suspend them for 45 days? Would they do anything about it? And I would be shocked if any of the school board members would have said, "Oh yeah, we're suspending our kids." They may say it, but I absolutely don't believe that they would actually follow through with it. So that's another warning, I guess. And then continuing in Section 9, thinking about what you might do next if the chosen plan of action doesn't work. As I said before, meeting has to happen. If the meeting doesn't happen,